Hello everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 12. Before we begin this week's episode, there's just something I wanted to address really quick, and that's the fact that, full disclosure, for part of the beginning of this week and part of last week, I was feeling really down. Like, I don't know, I was just kind of questioning the whole YouTube thing, didn't know what I wanted, and I don't know, it was rough. For anyone wondering why this happened, basically it was a combination of stuff. I mean, you take stress from work and needing to wrap things up for the holidays, combined with that YouTube rewind, which was just terrible and left me feeling like I'm not really appreciated as a content creator on the platform. Combine that with the fact that I lost a bunch of subscribers, which, you know, that hit me pretty hard because I felt like a lot of my work was just taken away from me. And not only that, but then on Sunday, I found out that one of my favorite YouTube content creator teams was actually breaking up and they were disbanding the channel. And so I don't know, combine all those things and I just didn't really know what I wanted from YouTube, and I didn't even know if I wanted to continue making videos. I was just kind of doubting everything, I guess, you know? Like, I don't know, like as silly as it might sound, hearing that YouTube content creator team was breaking up, it was actually really rough because I have been watching them for like 7+ years and they had been like a constant on my life. And even though everything has kind of come and gone on YouTube, I mean, they were still there. And so it felt like a nice connection to like what I feel YouTube used to be. And so, yeah, I mean, hearing that they were breaking up and the channel was disbanding was like really upsetting. And like I said, combine that with everything else and it was just a whole mess. However, I'm feeling quite better now. And in fact, you know, quite a few of you guys actually messaged me and had words of encouragement. And yeah, I mean, first of all, big props to you guys for reaching out to me. For anyone who had words of encouragement, I really appreciate it. And second thing, you know, you don't have to be worried. I'm not going anywhere. Though I was upset, and though it sucks to have lost those subscriber numbers, I don't know. Now, instead of feeling upset, I feel motivated, I guess you can say. And yeah, I really want to get those numbers back. And I want to, you know, surpass those numbers. And I just have all these ideas for the new year now, and I have all these things that I want to try to implement. You know, I don't want to just enter the new year laying down or whatever. So I don't know, I'm feeling motivated now and I'm feeling good and I'm feeling excited for the new year and for new things to come. So like I said, don't have to worry about this channel going anywhere. I'm gonna see what I can do to make it better actually. So I don't know, I guess it's true. Sometimes out of bad stuff, good stuff comes out of it. So, you know. With that being said though, I do have quite a bit of things that I did this week that I want to talk about. So without further ado, let's dive into those. The first thing I want to talk about, as always, is manga. And I actually did start a new manga series. Unfortunately, it's quite new still, and it gets released about once a month, so there's only 13 chapters out. But regardless, I thought it was really interesting, and I want to talk about it. So the series that I'm talking about is a series called It's Tough Being Neeko. And yeah, like I said, only 13 chapters out. And I don't even remember how I ran into it. I think it was just one of those things where I saw someone using like one of the pages as like a meme sort of thing. I looked it up, it had to be on my list, and I finally got around to reading it, that sort of thing. But yeah, to describe, It's Tough Being Neeko. Basically, it's about this girl named Neeko, nicknamed, you know, Neeko. And it's about how she's like a 23-year-old and she's a NEET. So for anyone who doesn't know, being a NEET is apparently like a really common thing in Japan. It's kind of like a condition, I guess you can call it. And it's an acronym that stands for Not in Education, Employment, or Training. Basically what this means, it's usually like a young person right out of high school that doesn't, you know, go to college. They don't have any sort of employment. And they're also not even like doing any like training or like apprenticeship for like a vocational job of any sorts. So basically there's someone who just right out of high school, just decided to just stay home and they mooch off their parents or siblings or whatever, right? And yeah, while it's one of those things where it sounds kind of like it would be annoying. And it's one of those things where you kind of want to tell people, well, get your stuff together. The way this story is like portrayed, the way the main character, she's written, it's really interesting because it's done in a way where you feel bad for her. Because you can tell that in the past, like she tried to get a job many, many times and it just like never worked out. And so now she's at a point where basically like she just gets anxiety from even trying to, call a place up to ask if she can be employed there. Because I guess it's kind of like almost like she has social anxiety at this point. And yeah, I mean, it's just a really interesting story because it shows how the main character, Neeko, how she's stuck in this spiral where she feels bad about not having a job and she feels like she's like this, parasite to her family. And so she wants to fix things, but fixing things makes you feel worse because of the social anxiety, which makes her, retreat more into, like the world of watching TV and sticking to video games and not going out, which in turn makes her feel worse about not having a job. And it's this like endless cycle. And like the story isn't just gloomy, like it does have a lot of comedy, it is really cute, but it has lots of stuff that kind of, I don't know, it hits close to home if you've ever been unemployed, because you kind of can relate to that feeling of just feeling worthless. And it also hits close to home if you're one of those people who feels like everyone around you is just really successful and you feel like you really haven't done much with your life, unfortunately. I mean, I can relate to that. Like there's a part where she finds like this box of old stuff and she has like a bunch of like video game systems and all sorts of like stuff she's just collected over the years. And she's remembering how like she used to like have fun with her friends back in high school and play video games and stuff. And like how now they've all moved on. And, people she knows are married and they're going to have kids and they have all these like great, like really nice jobs. And she's kind of just stuck there. And I don't know, it's just a really good series so far. I've really enjoyed it. I thought that, like I said, it kind of hits close to home. It has funny moments. It has kind of sad stuff that kind of makes you feel, a little bit, it kind of makes you cringe a little bit if you can relate to it. And I would recommend it. It's definitely a quick read. As I said, there's only 13 chapters out so far because it's still fairly new, but it's the kind of thing that I definitely recommend and I will definitely try to, catch up with it as more chapters come out. So once again, that series is called It's Tough Being Neeko, Neeko. And I've seen it go by a few names. I've also seen it go by It's Tough Being Neeko. Like it combines the word neat with her name, Neeko. And I've seen it, a few names. But if you can find It's Tough Being Neeko, I mean, that's a good place to start. Just go from there. And like I said, I really recommend it. I think it's a interesting series so far. When it comes to anime, I watched one new anime series this week. And that was a anime series that apparently came out earlier this year. I think it came out for like I want to say maybe spring season. I know it came out like 2 seasons ago. And back when it came out, I had heard it was pretty good. However, I just had a full plate with other anime and other stuff that was going on. And so I kind of put it on hold. But I had some time this week and I thought it would be interesting to check out a new series. And so I checked out this series called Planet With. And Planet With, I really enjoyed it. It's basically this series that, I guess the best way to describe it is that it kind of turns anime tropes on their head a little bit. Like there's anime cliches that you think this is going to follow, and then it just keeps like changing things around. So basically when the anime starts, there's this kid, his name is Soya, and he's this high schooler, living a peaceful life with this giant talking cat named Sensei, and this like gothic Lolita maid called Jinko. And he has no memories, he has amnesia, he doesn't know, why he's with these people, he just knows that they kind of like took him in. And, he's living a peaceful enough life, he's happy enough, he's whatever, he's chill. And one day, basically these like weird alien creatures attack Japan, and these 7 heroes show up and they have like these mecha. They're all like animal themed, and they fight this weird alien creature, and they save the city. And so, Soya's watching, and he's, thinking that's interesting, whatever. Where it gets weird is that Sensei and Jinko say that he has to fight too. And so when you hear he has to fight, you think, oh, I get it. He's going to join the superhero team, standard anime thing, right? And he's going to get a mech too, blah, blah, blah. But no, they say you have to fight the heroes. And that's where it gets interesting. Because basically, the cat, Sensei, he can transform into this mecha. And Soya can team up with him. And yeah, he has to fight the heroes. And basically, he's the antagonist. And he's fighting them, and he's taking their powers away because, according to him, their powers are dangerous. And I don't really want to say too much more because I feel like I'll spoil it. There's definitely a lot of twists and turns. You're gonna have to watch it for yourself. But it's just a really interesting series where you basically follow the bad guy as he fights the heroes and does his best to take their powers away. And he's allied with the aliens, basically. And like I said, it's a really interesting series. It definitely has a lot of twists and turns. I feel like every few episodes, you feel like you've come to the end of the series, and there will be a new arc where the stakes get elevated even more. And it's just really interesting. It's really cool. I think that unfortunately, the use of CGI for the mechs does make it look kind of awkward. I wouldn't say it ruins the show, but it does make it look kind of it makes it look kind of weird, kind of cheap. But besides that, I really enjoyed the series. It's only 12 episodes, and it's a pretty quick watch. And I don't know, I just enjoyed it. I think that's really cool. I think that, nowadays you don't see that much super robot shows, but it was really interesting, and it was really good. And I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it. And once again, it's called Planet With. When it comes to other anime series, a few of them are wrapping up. And at first I was going to wait until all of them ended before, kind of talking about them all in general. But then I kind of realized that all of them are ending at different times. And so it might be kind of awkward waiting until they all end for the season before talking about them. So, I decided that as they end, I will discuss them. And so the other anime that I want to talk about this week is Zombieland Saga, which actually ended on Thursday. And so yeah, Zombieland Saga, I talked about it on the podcast before. As I said, it's this really interesting series where basically there's this girl who's excited to become an idol. She's about to go mail in her audition tape, application, I forget what it is, but she gets hit by a truck and she dies, and 10 years later she is resurrected as a zombie. And the series was, at one point I was kind of afraid that it was going to move away from the zombie stuff and focus on just the idol stuff. And I don't know, the interesting thing is that while it did indeed kind of do this, where it kind of moved away from making fun of idols to kind of playing it more straight and embracing the idol industry and the idol culture, I still think it did it in a really good way where I really enjoyed the series. Basically, I don't remember what's the last thing I talked about in the series, but when it starts off, it's basically making fun of idols, and it's making fun of the idol industry. The manager they have, he's kind of a total prick, and he's always making fun of them and kind of, berating them and kind of torturing them a little bit. And, they kind of make fun of the idol industry by the first episode, where they're all just mindless zombies dancing along, and it feels like it's making a statement about it, that sort of thing. And as it went along, I feel like it did embrace the idol culture instead of making fun of it. But it does it in a way where you still feel invested in the characters. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of weird to describe it. I've never really watched an idol show before because it's never been of interest to me. But I guess the best way to describe it is that it does it in a way where not only do I enjoy this view of the idol industry, but I wouldn't actually mind watching other idol series. I don't know, it's just really interesting. It's kind of hard to describe, but don't worry about it. Still has lots of great gags, has a lot of great zombie stuff. Along the way, you learn about some of the backstory of some of the girls and how they died, how they became zombies, that sort of thing. And yeah, just overall, it was a really good, really funny show. It could be heartfelt at times when you see the backstory of some of the girls, and I just really enjoyed it. I think that when I first watched it, I didn't really know what to expect. And like I said, even though it kind of changed gears a little bit halfway through, I still ended up really enjoying it and really liking it. And I think it's a really unique take on the, idol industry. And it's a really unique take on like a zombie show too. So I definitely recommend it. I think it's worth a watch. And once again, that show is Zombieland Saga. Moving on, I didn't watch any new TV series. I had been hoping to watch a few things on Netflix, but I just didn't get around to it. However, I did watch a new movie, and it's a movie that I really enjoyed. So the movie I'm talking about is Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse. And yeah, this movie was really good, and I really enjoyed it. So for anyone who doesn't know, to catch you up really quick with some comic knowledge, for about 8 years now, there's been a character called Miles Morales. And Miles Morales is this teenager who is half African-American and half Hispanic. And what makes him special is that in his universe, when Peter Parker dies, he basically takes over as Spider-Man because he also got bit by a radioactive spider. And so that's one thing that's been happening in the comics. Miles Morales is, I think, a really good character. I think the way that he, takes over the mantle's really good. I think the way that he's kind of like a protege to Spider-Man is really interesting. I think they have that really cool, Batman and Robin thing kind of going on. And yeah, I just think he's a really interesting character. And, as the years have passed, I feel like he's been getting more and more play. Likewise, at the same time, in the comics, there's been this event called the Spider-Verse, where basically, we discover that across all these different dimensions, every dimension has a different version of Spider-Man. So, one version has regular old Peter Parker, swinging around. Another version has Spider-Gwen, which is a universe where Gwen Stacy, instead of dying, she's the one who gets bit by a spider, and Peter Parker of that universe becomes the villain, the Lizard, and he dies, and, Gwen feels a bunch of guilt about Peter Parker dying, and that's what makes her Spider, woman. There's another universe where there's a Spider-Man that's all about being like a punk rocker. There's another universe where Spider-Man is a guy from the future who wears like a mech suit, Iron Man style. Like the point is, there's all sorts of different universes that all have their own different Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, whatever. And sometimes it's a version of Peter Parker, sometimes it's somebody else, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's a pretty cool, concept, because when you have such a beloved character like Spider-Man, I think it's really cool to see how different universes have different versions of him and how that goes down. And so yeah, basically Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse kind of takes all these ideas and puts them together to make this really interesting movie. Basically, the main character of the story is Miles Morales, and it's kind of an origin story where we see how he becomes Spider-Man. But at the same time, it also takes that Spider-Verse idea, and so it there's a portal that gets opened and all these different spider people, come into Miles's world, and it's all about them all teaming up. And I don't know. I don't want to say too much more. I think it's the kind of thing you should watch, before I spoil it or whatever. But I think it's a really interesting movie. I think the way they handle all the different spider people is really cool. I think the visuals of the movie were really interesting. It's the same people who made the Lego movie. So if you've seen the Lego movie and been kind of impressed with how they made it actually look like there's Legos, walking around like everything's made out of Legos, the best way to describe this movie is that everything looks, I guess, like comic panels, but not really comic panels. I guess it depends on like the characters that are on screen too, because when Miles Morales is on screen, not only does everything look like a comic panel, but because he's very like urban, everything also has kind of like a graffiti style to it, a very like hip hop music video. And, when you have like Spider-Gwen on screen, she looks more like, I don't know, she looks more like fluid, and she's more like acrobatic, and everything's like more colorful. And when we have Penny Parker, who's like a little like anime version of Spider-Man, like when she's on screen, there's a lot of like anime stuff going on. and, just stuff like that. But I think the visuals were really interesting. I'm really impressed. I feel like they, did something like really new with the visuals. I can't really think of anything else that I would really compare this to. And like I said, the way they handle all the spider people is really good. The story is actually really good. I think it's like a really good crossover event. I think the way they kind of give each character some character development is really good. And I really enjoyed the movie. And I definitely recommend it. And I don't know, honestly, seeing the movie, not only I enjoyed it, but I'll admit it left me kind of disappointed because it made me realize that we really are getting way too much superhero movies. Like, when I saw this movie and like how it brings all these spider people together and like what happens in the story, like, man, this would feel so much bigger if we didn't have like another superhero movie coming in like a few months, Like, this is the kind of stuff that we should be saving superhero movies for, big events like this. Like the Avengers 1, that was a big event. This is a big event. And it kind of makes me realize that, like, yeah, we're kind of cheapening the feeling of superhero movies by making so many of them, because this should have been like a way bigger deal. And, unfortunately, it's kind of going to get lost to like all the other superhero movies that are coming out. I mean, same, like right now, Aquaman's also coming out. And, within a few months, I know we're also getting like Avengers again. So I don't know. It did kind of make me realize that I do kind of hope in the future we kind of tone back the amount of superhero movies we're getting. That way they feel more special, But, that's just me. I don't know. That was just my personal feelings. But like I said, I think it's a really good movie. Good characters, good visuals, good story. Soundtrack was really cool. I think the people who worked on it, like Post Malone and stuff, awesome job. And I definitely recommend it. I think it is worth watching. I think it was really cool. Moving on, I played some stuff, but not anything new. Basically, I just kept playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. For anyone who saw the review of that, I just enjoyed the game. I'm loving it. I think the game is almost perfect. I think the only thing really holding it back is number one, the fact that a lot of people are saying that the online functionality is kind of crappy. And number two, while it doesn't have to be like Brawl, and I wasn't expecting for it to have like this big cutscene heavy story, I just think that there should have been at least a few more cutscenes. Like the fact that the adventure mode has a cutscene at the beginning and one at the end, and that's it. I don't know. I think that kind of brings the score down, But besides that, though, I think the game is excellent. I think it has everything I've wanted. I think it's a big step up from the previous game. I feel like the previous game felt like kind of a letdown. So this game's doing great. It's fun to play. All the modes are awesome. And I don't know, even the small stuff. Like the fact that there's all this music just in the library that you can listen to is great. And yeah, I've just been having a bunch of fun with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Likewise, the other thing that I really played this week was West of Loathing. While I do still have some, I guess you call like side quests to do, because there's just like so much content. And for some of these, I'm probably going to need a guide because they're just like really difficult, like really tricky to like figure out. Basically, I played West of Loathing and I beat it. Like, it doesn't really have like an ending per se. Like, once you beat it, it seems that you can still kind of wander around and stuff. At least that's the impression I'm getting. But I did reach the ending, and I did get like a ending cutscene where it kind of shows, people I helped along the way and it kind of like what happened to them and like what happened to my character. So yeah, I had a ton of fun with that game. I think it's awesome. I recommend it. I think that for like $12, it's definitely worth it. And yeah, I'm excited to play more. I'm excited to finish more of the side quests, but at least for the time being, I'm happy that I reached the ending. So really enjoy the game, really recommend it. I think it's worth your money. And with that being said, that actually brings me to the end of my week. Like I said, the anime season is kind of wrapping up at this point. There will be different anime ending here and there, and so I hope to talk about them, in the future weeks as they end. And also, like I said, hopefully I actually watch some Netflix shows during this, upcoming week, because I know that there's supposed to be some pretty good stuff to watch, and I'd like to talk about it with you guys, so... Still, with that out of the way, I guess we should get down to the news. And the first news story that I want to talk about is that apparently the Switch is the fastest selling video game system of this generation in the US. And not only that, but also, in the article, it talks about how Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has sold over 3 million copies in its first 11 days. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say besides the fact that I think that's incredible. And yeah, I mean, good on Nintendo, right? Like, let me see if I can see some choice things to read out loud. Let's see here. Yeah, Nintendo Switch has become the fastest selling video game system of this hardware generation through 21 months, according to the NPD Group, which tracks video game sales in the United States. From its launch in March 2017 through November 2018, Nintendo Switch has sold more than 8.7 million units, which, wow, you know? And not only that, but like I said, the fact that I want to see, there was some more accomplishments that I know Smash Ultimate had achieved. What was it? Hold on, let me read it. Yes, here it is. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has become not only the fastest selling Nintendo Switch game of all time, but also the fastest selling game in the Smash Brothers series, with, as I said, over 3 million sales in it the first 11 days in the United States. And like I said, I just think that's incredible. I just wanted to share that story because, I mean, wow, I'm just thinking about how bad Nintendo was doing during the Wii U era. I mean, not that the Wii U was terrible, I still think that, you know, it was enjoyable. I mean, there's some games I played for the Wii U and had fun with. Even now, after I've hacked my Wii U, I appreciate the system. I think it's a nice little system. I think the screen, it's fine for what it is, you know. But still, the you know, being truthful, the Wii U did not do good at all. And it kind of was putting Nintendo in a bad spot where people didn't really have faith in Nintendo. I mean, like, where was the games? Where was the cool software? Where was, I don't know, like, people just were looking down on Nintendo. And the fact that they were able to turn things around so much with the Switch, like, I think that's impressive. I think Nintendo deserves props for that. And I don't know, I don't know. I also got to give them praise because I've enjoyed my Switch so much. Like, the fact that, like, everything is on Switch is awesome. The fact that we've gotten all these great games so far, such as Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Kirby Star Allies, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, all the indie games. Like, I don't know. I'm just so impressed. That's why I want to share the story. And yeah, I just hope that in the future, Nintendo continues to do great. I hope that there's more good games coming up. And yeah, I mean, just round of applause for Nintendo. The fact that they've sold that well is really good. Speaking of looking towards the future, I just wanted to talk about this story really quickly, which is that Life is Strange 2 Episode 2 has a launch date of January 24th, 2019. Now, I know I didn't really talk about it too much. I did mention it at some point, what was it, like late November or something like that when the first episode came out. But yeah, Life is Strange 2. So far, I think it is a really good game. I think that it is really interesting, and I am really excited to see where it goes. And I don't know if any of you out there are a fan of the game, but I am excited. I think that Don't Nod has made a really good universe. I think the relationship between the two main characters, you know, the two brothers, is really interesting. And yeah, I mean, not really much else to say, just the fact that I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping all of you are looking forward to it. And if you haven't tried the game out, I would say give it a chance. I think the game is great. And what else? Other stuff to just talk about that's in the article. There's a little live action trailer, which if you check it out, it's put together quite well. I enjoyed it. And not only that, but if you guys remember when I talked about the demo, which is like a demo prequel thing called the, what was it called? I don't remember the full name right now, but it was about Captain Spirit, which was this boy named Chris who had like this like abusive dad, and his mom had died, and like, the story was really sad, and it was about him pretending to be a superhero, you know, on a Saturday morning. Apparently, they're gonna run into Chris in the second episode, you know, and his Captain Spirit alter ego. So I don't know, look forward to that too. I want to see more Chris. I want to see what happens with his story as well. I gotta admit, I became a little bit attached to him after the Captain Spirit demo, because I wanted to see like what happens with him and his situation with his dad and stuff. So yeah, I mean, look forward to that, guys. Speaking of looking forward to it, I have been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 for, I feel like, forever. I feel like I've been waiting for this game to come out like my whole life, and we're almost there. The game comes out on what, like the 29th or whatever, and we're almost there. I'm excited, and if you guys want to check it out, Kingdom Hearts 3 put out what I think is its final trailer. It's called the Final Battle trailer. And yeah, really good stuff. I will warn you guys, there's some people I know who watched it who in the comments section were saying that they felt it had a lot of spoilers. Personally, I don't really know what they're talking about. I feel like Kingdom Hearts is the kind of series that even when you see stuff on screen that's potentially spoilers without context, and hell, sometimes even with context, still doesn't make any sense. So me personally, I watched the trailer. I thought it was really cool. If there was spoilers, didn't bother me because I don't know the context for anything. But, still thought I'd throw that out there, guys. If you guys are bothered by spoilers or if you want to go in blind, I guess don't check out the trailer. But if you don't care, then check it out. I think it has some really cool stuff. Definitely shows more of the characters, shows some more plot points that seem to be going down, which are really interesting. And yeah, guys, all I can say is that I am super excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I am looking forward to it a lot. And yeah, I just cannot wait to play that game. If you guys want to check out the trailer, like I said, link will be in the description below. Alrighty, now going in a totally different direction. This next story is a weird one, but I want to talk about it. Basically, as the article states, the Fresh Prince star, Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, apparently he's filing a lawsuit against Fortnite over the Carlton dance. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a show starring Will Smith, Alfonso Ribeiro, a few different people, and it was this, sitcom, and in it, Alfonso Ribeiro played this character called Carlton, who would do the Carlton dance. I mean, don't really know how to describe it. It's just a really goofy, fun-looking dance. You guys can Google it, whatever. And yeah, it became famous. He became famous for the little dance. And he's done it in a few things. Not only has he done it for the show, I think he did it in Dancing with the Stars when he came out. I know he's done it whenever there's been reunion stuff with him and Will Smith, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, he's basically synonymous with the dance. And so the problem is that Fortnite, it just takes dances such as the Carlton dance and they use them as emotes in the game. And not only that, but they can be purchased with in-game currency. So basically Fortnite is selling different dances and making money off of them. And so Carlton, the actor who plays Carlton, he's trying to sue the company for the dance. And honestly, as a lot of people have said, the bad thing is that this probably isn't going to go anywhere because you can't copyright dances. I mean, that's just not the way it works. And so on the one hand, I think it sucks. Because if Fortnite is taking these dances, not only from the guy who played Carlton, but I know they took it from the guy from Scrubs when he did that little dance. I know they took one from this rapper called 2 Milli. I mean, it sucks because when they are taking people's dances that they did and they're famous for, when they're basically just taking them, putting it into their game and making money off of them, I get it. That's crappy. And of course, all these people want a part of that because, they feel they made that dance popular. They feel like they're owed something. So in a way, I get it. But at the same time, I'm glad that people can't copyright dances. Because how much would it suck if every time you want to do any type of dance, you had to pay people for it? Can you imagine that? If you want to dance at prom, oh no, I can only do these dances that are public domain. Or, oh, if I want to do a choreographed dance for a talent show, better not put the video on YouTube because I'm going to owe royalties, you know what I mean? So in a way, I get his frustration and I do think it's unfair what Fortnite is doing. But at the same time, I guess I am glad that it seems like this isn't going to go anywhere because it would be pretty silly if you could copyright dances. That would really suck. But still, I mean, I don't know. I just hope that Fortnite, I don't know. I hope something does come of this. I hope there's an agreement that's reached where Fortnite can have the dances, but only if they're free. Because like I said, I do think it's kind of scummy for them to make money off of something that someone else made popular. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, Fortnite, people are getting really tired of it. So we'll see if this just doesn't cause more problems for them in the future, I guess. The next story I want to talk about is that Mob Psycho 100 Part 2, or Season 2, I mean, I don't really know what you want to call it. It had a trailer that released a couple days ago, I want to say. I'm trying to look for the date when I can't find the date for when the trailer dropped. But yeah, basically, Mob Psycho 100 Part 2, Season 2, whatever, had a trailer that came out. and I think it looks really interesting. I'm really looking forward to Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. It's supposed to premiere on January 7th, 2019, and not really sure what else to say. I mean, if you've seen the show, you should know what I'm talking about. I think it is a great show. I guess for anyone who hasn't watched it, it's by the same guy who drew One Punch Man, and it's a really good story about this kid who has psychic powers, and he has no interest in said psychic powers. Basically, he just wants to like fit in at school, and he wants to be like one of the popular kids, that kind of thing. However, he's not like trying to be popular like in a snobby, dickish way. Like he's a very nice, very down-to-earth character. And yeah, the whole anime is just really interesting. It's about this kid who's super powerful with psychic powers, and it's about him dealing with all these people who keep trying to like take over the world and hurt him and his family and the people around him, and it's just about how he keeps getting into all these fights. And I don't know, it's just a really good anime. It's really funny. It's really creative. Some of the places the story go are really interesting. You know, like it subverts expectations a lot. And like I said, I'm really excited for it. Ever since season 1 ended, I've been dying to see more of the story. And yeah, just the fact that it premieres on January 7th, which isn't even that far away, I'm really excited. And so yeah, if you guys are interested, the link will be in the description below to the trailer for season 2. Now, while I might be interested in Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, and I have been dying to watch it, this next story is about something that people are not excited about, and that honestly, I think a lot of people are hating at the moment. I am, of course, talking about the fact that we have some images of the live-action Aladdin movie. And don't know what to say, guys. The images just look awkward. I think that the clothes looks too modern. I think that Will Smith as Genie, I don't know, as a lot of people have said on different forums, he has this look on his face like he doesn't want to be there. Other people have said that the image, basically it's this like first look from Entertainment Weekly. They're on the cover of a magazine, Jasmine, Aladdin, and Genie. Some people have said that they think this image makes it look like a bad porn parody, and not to be messed up, but they're not wrong. Like this just looks really weird and looks really like low budget. Like a lot of people are saying it looks like a direct to DVD like sequel or something. And yeah, I mean, I just don't know how to describe it. Like something just feels off. Like Aladdin, I don't know. In the movie, in the animated film, Aladdin is this dude that because he's poor, he's running around in some raggedy pants and a little vest. Here, for whatever reason, he has like a striped collared shirt, and he has a jacket that looks like it has a hoodie on it, which is really weird. And his shoes look like they're trying way too hard to mix modern shoes with like an old timey look. Like, I don't know. Aladdin's outfit is just way off. Jasmine's outfit is better, but it's still kind of weird looking. For whatever reason, she's not showing her midriff. I don't know if that's because they're trying to be modest, but then if they're trying to be modest, why are there these weird like cups in her blouse that are super like standing out? I don't know. But I mean, she looks okay, I guess. And then, like I said, Will Smith as Genie just looks weird. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. For whatever reason, he's not blue, which, I mean, I guess he doesn't have to be blue, but we're so used to seeing him blue. Why not just make the guy blue? I mean, I don't know. Instead of CGI, he's just a person for whatever reason. And I don't know, guys. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't understand the obsession with live action. I think you can do way better with animation. You can get away with much more. You can be much more creative. And yeah, as I've said before, none of these Disney movies have really impressed me. And based off of the images I'm seeing now, not impressed. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe the movie will be fun. Maybe it'll be good. But based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm not excited at all. It just looks really strange to me. And based on what I'm seeing from forums and comments of people on like the different pictures and stuff, apparently other people are hating it. So I guess we'll see how it goes. And finally, the last story that I want to talk about, guys, is that apparently Dragon Ball Super, the Broly movie, apparently debuted at #1 at the Japanese box office. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just want to share this story with you guys, I guess, for 2 reasons. Number 1, I just think it's incredible that all these years later, Dragon Ball is still kicking. I mean, if you think about it, I would say the franchise is kind of bigger than ever. I mean, not only do they have this movie, which is their 20th film, but there's also, you know, the anime series that came out not too long ago. I think there's supposed to be like an anime series in the near future that they're gonna do. There's the games all the time, like, you know, Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and there's a bunch of merchandise all the time, and I don't know, I just think it's incredible. And I gotta admit that even though I'm not like a huge fan of Dragon Ball, like I would in no way say it's one of my favorite series, like even I want to check this movie out because I just feel like it's just such a huge cultural phenomenon that it just pulls you in. So I don't know, I just wanted to share that because I think it's incredible that Dragon Ball as a franchise is still, you know, doing so big. And number two, the other reason I want to share this story is that I think it's really cool the anime films are doing so good in theaters. Not too long ago, I was reading some articles, you know, about different anime films, and I know that like Your Name was a worldwide phenomenon, and that did great in theaters. Silent Voice, which I talked about, you know, did a review about, didn't do as big, but I know it was still pretty successful. And the My Hero Academia movie, apparently I was reading that it did better in theaters, you know, in America than was expected. Like people didn't expect it to do that good. They thought it was going to be like a little like release of like a day or something. And I remember apparently like it sold quite well. And so yeah, I was just going to say that I think all these anime films doing so great is awesome. And I don't know. Not only do I hope that that means we'll get more anime films in theaters, which I think would be cool, you know, to have those options. But even though I'm not a fan of anime live action adaptations, I'm hoping that, you know, since we're going to get them because there's no stopping them, I'm hoping that at least seeing anime be more, you know, mainstream and people like really, you know, getting attached to it, I'm hoping this will make companies see that they need to like really respect it. And hopefully this will lead to like better quality movies is what I'm hoping. I don't remember where I read it, but someone last time was saying that, hey, you know, comic book movies used to suck. They used to be really awkward. But once people like saw how mainstream they were and they saw how people like really liked them and how much money they could make off of them. I mean, look at movies now. Whether you love comic book movies or hate them, they're doing really well. And a lot of effort is put into them. And so people are saying, you know, hell, if that happens with, you know, anime movies, you know, maybe we'll see celebrities who actually want to respect the roles when they make a live action adaptation, and maybe we'll get directors who actually are into anime to help make them. And I know I'm going to kind of a rant, and I know, you know, this may or may not happen, but whenever I see something like this story, seeing that Dragon Ball is doing so good, I don't know, it kind of gives me hope for something like that, where even though I'm not a fan of anime live action adaptations, hopefully if they become mainstream enough, maybe people who actually care about the material will start to, you know, handle the movies. So, yeah. Alrighty, and with that being said, guys, that brings us to the end of another news week. As always, I hope that, you know, one of the stories was interesting or informative, or you guys enjoyed, you know, like I said, at least one of the stories. And as always, please feel free to comment in the comment section below and let me know what you guys thought. Moving on to the last part of the podcast, it is time for the Content Creator Spotlight. However, similar to a couple of weeks back, this week, I'm not going to bring a new content creator to the table. Instead, what I'm going to do is that I am going to suggest that you guys watch the video of someone who I've talked about in the past. And that's why this week, the content creator, you know, whose work I want to talk about is The Movie Void. Now, for anyone who remembers, I've mentioned The Movie Void a few times on my channel. He's a friend of mine who used to live in Germany. Now he lives in LA. And he's just this dude who does all these really cool reviews of basically anything he wants. Usually it is like indie horror films. But, you know, he reviews all sorts of stuff. That's not the only thing he does. And yeah, basically what I am suggesting you guys check out this week, I would really appreciate it. And I know that he would really appreciate as well to get more views. He has a video called The LA Void, parentheses, season finale, And yeah, basically it's a video that I actually talked to him and he says took him a lot of time and effort, and apparently it was like a whole trouble to make. It's a video that is a bunch of footage from around the time that he came to check out LA before moving here, and then the time, around when he did first move here. And yeah, it's just this really good video, guys. I don't know if you guys enjoy vlogs or travel stuff at all, but I promise this is a really good video because it's just a really good in-depth look at his experience, not only working on all these projects in LA, but also just his life and him, heading over here and hitting up different movies that he likes to do reviews on them, and then hitting up all these locations and hanging out with all these people. And I don't know, it's hard to describe if you haven't followed his channel, but let me tell you, this is a really good video. It's very well put together. Like, his use of music is awesome. His use of editing is great. And it's just a really awesome video, guys. Like I said, he told me that it took him a lot of work and he was like really stressed out because footage was just lost, all over the place because he was in the middle of traveling and stuff. But I recommend you guys watch it. In fact, please, guys, if you listen to my podcast, at least please check it out. I think that he worked really hard on it, and I think it's really good. And as I said, I don't think you guys will be disappointed. I mean, if you ever want to see someone traveling and following like their dreams and pursuing, their hobbies and stuff, this is a good video that encapsulates it. It's a really awesome video, guys. Check it out. I know he worked really hard on it, and I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a really well put together video. So if you're hearing this movie void, I'm doing my best to spread the word, man. Keep up the good work. And if any of you guys are hearing this part, as I said, please show him some love. Give the video a like, give it a view, give him a chance. Thank you. And with that brings us to the end of another podcast. That is one more in the bag. Looking at the calendar right now, I realize that next week is the Christmas holiday. And while I think that I will still have a podcast out next Friday, and I think I will try to release some sort of like an end of the year sort of video, I'm not entirely sure, so don't hold me to it, alright? Well, I'm gonna try to do my best to have content out next week. I can't guarantee it, so in case I don't see you guys, hope everyone has a Merry Christmas or whatever else you guys might celebrate, regardless, have a good week and time with your families, all that good stuff. And like I said, I'll try my best, but if I don't see you, then for now, my name is Wannabe Reviewer, and I will catch you guys next time.